Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the English language. From its global reach to its quirky quirks, English is a language full of surprises. Stick around to learn some mind-blowing facts that might just change the way you think about the way you talk. Let's get started. Alright, let's talk about how English became the most spoken language in the world. Now I know what you're thinking. John, you can't just go around claiming English is the most spoken language. Have you even heard someone speaking Mandarin lately? And you'd be right to ask that. It's true that Mandarin Chinese boasts a whopping 1 billion native speakers, almost double that of English. But here's the catch. We're talking about total speakers, which includes both native and non-native speakers. And in that arena, English takes the crown with a staggering 2 billion speakers worldwide. That's nearly a third of the planet communicating, at least in part through the wonderful, wacky world of English. So how did this happen? Well, it's a bit of a historical hodgepodge. You've got the British Empire spreading its linguistic wings far and wide, leaving its mark on every continent. Then you've got the rise of the United States as a global superpower, further cementing English's dominance in everything from business to pop culture. But it's not just about empires and economics. English has this knack for absorbing words and phrases from other languages like a linguistic sponge soaking up the world's vocabulary. It's a living, breathing language, constantly evolving and adapting, which is part of what makes it so darn interesting and sometimes confusing. Think about it. How many languages can claim to have words with origins in Latin, Greek, French, German, and even Hindi, all coexisting within the same sentence? English is a melting pot of linguistic influences, reflecting the interconnectedness of our world. This global reach has some pretty significant implications. It's the language of international diplomacy, the lingua franca of science and technology, and the default language of the internet. Whether you're traveling the world, collaborating on a research project, or just browsing memes online, chances are you're going to bump into English along the way. But this linguistic dominance isn't without its critics. Some argue that it leads to the suppression of other languages and cultures, creating a sort of linguistic hierarchy that favors English speakers. It's a complex issue with no easy answers, but it's something to keep in mind as we navigate this increasingly interconnected world. Let's move from the global scale to something a bit more personal, the word I. It's a tiny word, just a single vowel sandwiched between two consonants, yet it carries an immense weight of meaning. It's the cornerstone of our identity, the linguistic representation of our unique perspective on the world. But have you ever stopped to consider the word I itself? It's one of the shortest words in the English language, and also one of the oldest. In Old English it was IC, and its roots can be traced back even further to Proto-Germanic and Proto-Indo-European languages. Think about that for a second. The very word we use to express our individuality has been echoing through the corridors of human history for millennia. It's a linguistic thread connecting us to our ancestors, a reminder that even though languages evolve, the fundamental human experiences they express remain constant. But I is more than just a pronoun. It's a powerful tool for communication. It allows us to take ownership of our thoughts, feelings, and experiences. It's the starting point for self-expression, the foundation upon which we build our understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. When we use the word I, we're stepping into the spotlight of our own lives. We're acknowledging our agency, our ability to act and make choices that shape our destiny. It's a declaration of selfhood, a way of saying, I am here, I am present, and I matter. But the power of I extends beyond the individual. When we share our stories, our perspectives, our unique I with others, we create connections that transcend language barriers. We build empathy, understanding, and a sense of shared humanity. So the next time you use the word I, take a moment to appreciate its simplicity, its history, and its profound impact on the way we communicate. It may be a small word, but it carries the weight of human experience. Okay, brace yourselves, because we're about to dive into the wild world of really, really long words. And when I say long, I mean epically, ridiculously, almost comically long. I'm talking about the behemoth of the English language, the word that makes dictionaries tremble, the chemical name for the protein titin. Now, I'm not going to subject you to the full pronunciation of this monster. It clocks in at a mind-boggling 189,819 letters and would take over 3 hours to say out loud. Yes, you heard that right. 3 hours! You could watch an entire movie in the time it takes to utter this single word. So what is titin, and why does it have such a ridiculously long name? Well, titin is a giant protein that plays a crucial role in muscle elasticity. It's like a molecular spring, helping your muscles stretch and contract. And its name? Well, that's where things get a little technical. Chemical names are often derived from the structure and composition of the molecule they describe. And titin, my friends, is a very complex molecule. It's made up of thousands of amino acids, all strung together in a specific sequence. So its chemical name is essentially a very, very detailed description of that sequence. Now, you're probably never going to have to use this word in everyday conversation. In fact, unless you're a biochemist or a Scrabble champion with a penchant for the absurd, you can probably go your whole life without ever uttering this linguistic leviathan. But even though it's impractical for everyday use, the existence of a word like this speaks to the incredible capacity of language. It shows us that language can be both incredibly precise and wonderfully absurd, capable of encompassing the vast complexities of the natural world and the quirky whims of human invention. Fasten your seatbelts, language enthusiasts, because we're about to take off on a linguistic journey into the world of aviation. You know how they say music is a universal language? Well, in the skies above us, that language is English. That's right, from the moment a plane leaves the tarmac to the moment it touches down on the runway, English reigns supreme as the official language of aviation communication. Now, you might be wondering how this came to be. After all, the world is a big place with a lot of languages. Why English? Well, it all boils down to a little thing called standardization and a bit of historical happenstance. Back in the early days of aviation, things were a bit chaotic. Pilots from different countries were using their own languages to communicate with air traffic control, which, as you can imagine, led to some pretty hairy situations. Imagine trying to land a plane while the tower is speaking a language you don't understand. Not exactly a recipe for a smooth flight. So, in the interest of safety and efficiency, the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, decided that a universal language was needed. And guess which language got the nod? Yep, good old English. There were a few reasons for this choice. For one, English was already the dominant language in aviation technology and manufacturing, thanks in large part to the pioneering work of countries like the United States and Great Britain. Plus, English has a relatively simple grammatical structure compared to some other languages, making it easier to learn and use in high-pressure situations. So, from that point on, English became the official language of air traffic control, pilot training manuals, and pretty much everything else related to aviation. And while pilots are still allowed to use their native languages in some cases, English is always there as a backup, ensuring clear communication no matter where in the world you're flying. Hold on to your hats, word nerds, because we're about to tackle a word so versatile, so multifaceted, so downright slippery, that it's practically a linguistic chameleon. I'm talking about the word set. Now, you might think you know set. It's a simple word, right? You set the table, you set a goal, you watch the sunset. But trust me, this word is hiding a secret stash of definitions so vast that it would make a dictionary editor break out in a cold sweat. How many definitions are we talking about? Well, depending on which dictionary you consult, the word set can have anywhere from 40 to over 450 distinct meanings. That's right, over 450 different ways to use this seemingly innocuous four-letter word. It's a verb, a noun, an adjective, heck, it might even be an adverb if you squint at it sideways. You can set a trap, set a record, set your hair, set the mood, set sail, set the stage, the list goes on and on. So how did one little word become so darn versatile? Well, it all boils down to English's remarkable ability to absorb and adapt. Over centuries, set has borrowed meanings from other languages, spawned new definitions through creative usage, and generally made itself comfortable in every nook and cranny of the English language. And it's not just about quantity. The sheer range of meanings associated with set is astounding. It can refer to something concrete, like a set of dishes or a set of tools. Or it can describe something abstract like a set of beliefs or a set of circumstances. It can be used in formal contexts like a legal set of rules or a mathematical set of numbers. Or it can be used casually, like when you tell your friend you're all set or that you're going to set the record straight. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed learning these fascinating facts about the English language, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more interesting content. We'll be back with more linguistic adventures, exploring the quirks and wonders of the way we communicate. Until then, keep those brains buzzing and those words flowing.